1. So, without getting too political, we recently had an election in the USA. My aunt supported one side while her husband and adult offspring supported the other side. The election did not go the way my aunt wanted it to. She proceeded to flip her shit, breaking things, yelling, and even going as far as to set her daughter's "I voted" sticker on fire. Her husband called the cops. The cops declined to arrest her for anything, but suggested that she find a different place to stay for the night. This happened yesterday, in New Jersey. Fast forward to 2 a.m. today. Here I am, sleeping peacefully in my home with my family, over 500 miles from all that drama. My fence alarm goes off, waking me up. I don't know if it's a bear or a trespasser. So I get my pants on and grab my shotgun, just to be safe. Turns out my aunt cut the lock off my front gate, because she couldn't get in and I wasn't answering my phone. I wish it was a bear. Why does she have bolt cutters in her car? So, I now safely stow my weapon and ask her, "What the fuck?" She starts crying and screaming, mind you, this is at 2 a.m. in a quiet rural community, about how
"The devil took my family and threw me out."
And she says that since she has nowhere else to go, I need to let her in so she can stay in my guest room for a while. I told her one of my guildies is using that room right now. The room is occupied. This person came from Texas all the way to West Virginia to hang out with me. I'm not going to toss them out with 30 seconds of notice because my aunt showed up. So she decides to call the police and tell them I'm keeping her from entering her home. We're out in the woods, so the cops don't get here quick. 4:41 a.m., the cops show up. I see them talking to her in my driveway. She shows them the bolt cutters and the ruined lock. A few minutes later, the officer knocks at my door. Your tenant claims that I immediately cut him off and tell him that I do not have a tenant. I own and occupy this structure. I offer to show him the deed. Well, this woman claims I cut him off again. What's the address and her ID say? At this point, the cop is pissed at me, I can tell. So I try to de-escalate the situation. Look, man, she doesn't live here. She's never lived here. That's my aunt. She lives in New Jersey. Please check her ID card. Cop calms down a bit and lets me know that he will talk to her and then come back. 10 minutes later, the cops come back to my door. 3 of them this time, not just the one from earlier. One of them had stripes and a rocker on his arm, so I could tell he was important. He asks me if there's any way my aunt can stay here for the night, because she's too drunk to drive, so he can't let her back on the road. This woman just drove from New Jersey to West Virginia drunk. Thank God she didn't kill anyone. The cop asks me if she can just sleep in her car in my driveway and leave in the morning. I told him absolutely not. When she wakes up in the morning, I would just have to call them to come get her off my property, so that would solve nothing. I asked them to remove her from my property. Long story short, her car got towed and she's in the drunk tank. No charges pending for the night. So much for sleeping tonight. My kids need to be up for school soon. 2. My mom's best friend Donna is her hairdresser. She does hair and makeup out of her home studio. She has clients ranging from millionaires and celebrities to normal people. She doesn't discriminate. She's often on sets for movies, commercials, and modeling shows. My mom would often go over when she had clients to act as a personal assistant, serving drinks, cleaning the house, etc., and travel with her whenever needed. Donna has always been grateful to my mom. She pays her very well when she works for her, and even gives her free haircuts that she would normally charge over $200 for. She will lower her prices for people who don't have a lot of money. One day my mom was there, helping Donna, and Karen, who has a lot of money because her husband is a millionaire, came in for her weekly pampering. As soon as she walked in, she started trashing my mom's car. She drives a Kia. My mom just ignored her and carried on with her work. Karen continued to talk shit about my mom's car, saying that only poor people drive Kias. I would never be caught dead in such a cheap car. My mom continued to ignore Karen's insults. Mom offered her a drink, and Karen just scoffed, didn't answer her question, and said,
"I'll only talk to Donna."
Donna was already annoyed because of Karen's comments about my mom's car and was getting more and more livid, but continued to cut her hair. Halfway through the haircut, my mom came to sweep up her hair. Karen looks at my mom and, addressing Donna, says, "Why do you hang out with poor people? It's really bad for your image when you're in public with your maid." Donna responded, "Maid? She's not my maid, she's..." Karen interrupts. "Maid, nanny, housekeeper, whatever she is, it's still bad for your image as such a high-class hairdresser to be seen with the help. And it doesn't help that she drives such a cheap car." Donna's blood was boiling. She was absolutely pissed off that Karen would have the audacity to talk like this, especially because she claimed to be a good Christian woman. Donna had enough. She stopped cutting her hair, slammed her scissors on the table, and started going off on Karen. Mom doesn't remember everything Donna said, but Karen went totally silent. After a few seconds of thought, Karen tries to defend her position, saying, "I'm just trying to give you advice. What will people think if they see you with a poor person? It ruins your professional image." Donna, now red in the face and completely enraged, began yelling at Karen again. "I don't give two fucks how much money she has or doesn't have. She's my best friend and I love her like a sister." My mom teared up hearing this. Karen responds, "If you keep talking to me like this, I will never spend another dollar of my money with you." "I don't fucking care how much money you spend with me, you will not disrespect my best friend in my house." Karen says to Donna, "Fine, just finish my haircut and I'll leave and never come back, and you will never get another dollar out of me." Donna says, "No, get the fuck out of my house, I'm not finishing shit, you can have someone else finish your hair." Karen, in a shaky voice, says, "But I have a dinner party tonight with some friends. I can't find somebody of your quality and expertise to finish my hair before tonight." "I don't fucking care, get out of my house and lose my number. You should have thought about that before you started belittling my best friend." Karen gets up and runs out of the house in tears and slams the door. Donna looks at my mom and says, "I'm sorry, honey. She should not have treated you like that." Mom grins ear to ear with tears in her eyes and says, "Thank you for standing up for me like that. You're my best friend and I love you." "I love you too. Now let's get drunk." But an hour later, Karen's husband calls to ask what happened. He's very polite on the phone, and Donna tells him the whole story. He laughed and said Karen canceled the dinner party. He said he would be by in the morning to give Donna some money for her trouble. He came by the next day. My mom was still there. He handed Donna the money, turns to my mom and hands her $100. He also informed them that he was going to file for divorce because he thought she was a better person, and that she isn't rich. He is. 3. I work at a GP clinic as a registered nurse, and we do have our fair share of entitled patients and crying children, so I'm pretty much used to it. But what happened yesterday took the cake, and I'm still annoyed and amused at it all. It was fairly busy yesterday, lots of patients coming in, getting procedures done and whatnot. Enter Karen with her son, who was coming for his 4-year-old immunization. She comes in 10 minutes earlier than her appointment time, which is understandable. Patients can come early, but that does not guarantee being called in early by the nurse and the doctor. The doctor and I finish up with our previous patients, and when it's finally time for her appointment slot, I step out to call the child's name in the waiting room. They were not there. The receptionist informs me that the mother took her son to the toilet. Okay, no big deal. It takes 5 to 10 minutes with children. Clinical staff are obviously busy, so we can't wait forever for a patient to be done with their personal business. The doctor and I attend to our other tasks. Once finished, Karen comes in with her son from the toilet and I call them in. She has this typical nasal voice and the blonde Karen haircut.
"I'm sorry, but I've been waiting here for like 35 minutes. Can you just jab my son and I can get out of here?"
I'm taken aback. Because didn't she spend 15 minutes in the bathroom with her son? I ignored her statement and went through the paperwork with her, then told her that the doctor will be here shortly. She proceeds to roll her eyes. Once the doctor comes in and gives me the thumbs up for the jab, I get the needle ready and cue the child starts screaming and wriggling. It's a natural response, but he starts to try to physically hit me while Karen does nothing. As clinical staff, we can't administer needles, especially if the child is moving a lot, because it can end up in more injuries or prick the staff and parent. The Karen gets impatient and starts to yell at me.
I've been waiting here 45 minutes. Can you get this done?
Amidst all this commotion, the doctor comes to the treatment room again. By now, I've lost my patience and I straight up tell her, well, I refuse to administer your son with the injection because you can't hold him tight enough to prevent the movements, and you choose to spend 15 minutes in the bathroom. We called you earlier, but we also can't wait for patients forever. Also, you came early. You've been here 25 minutes according to my appointment book, and you need to be patient. That made Karen shut up, and the doctor eventually gave the injection to the child. He asked to do a quick checkup. In Australia, we do a routine checkup for children when they come and get their jabs, and she went in the nasal voice.
I have other things to do, so really want to get out of here.
Way to be grateful to healthcare professionals, Karen. Screw you. We want you to get out of here as well, bitch. 4. This is a hazy memory being extracted from a mind that has seen better days from chronic illness and medical sedation, but strap in. So, we were getting close to finishing our deployment in Iraq and heading back stateside. We were a PTT team in 09 working out of the Provincial Government Center. Our replacements were a similar team from the Army, and this asshat of a colonel bangs on my door to my COC, Combat Operations Center. I was working night shift at the time. Really, it was a way to get out of work for the last 3 months of my deployment. Anyway, he bangs on the door. They just pulled up an hour ago. I go to the door, open it. We didn't have anything fancy, but the post was in the middle of our barracks effectively, so high-ranking people would check in every now and then. As soon as I gave him an inch, he pushed the door and bashed his way inside. I am flustered, but see his rank, stand at attention, and say the standard, "Good evening, sir, Corporal A, reporting post," and he says,
"No time for that. Marine, my gear is missing."
I move to parade dress and kind of squint my eyes and say, "Can you explain to me what you mean, sir? What gear? Where was the last place you saw it?"
"My personal gear is not in my room. It was in the MRAP when we pulled up."
"Did you bring it in, sir?" Here's where it gets wild on his part, and I remember his words clearly here, knife-handing me while he says this.
"Corporal, are you telling me that you're in the COC of the Provincial Joint Government Center?"
He raises his hand manically above his head like Frankenstein bringing life to his monster.
"The brain stem of our operation."
Ceases dramatics, voice changes back to calm.
"And you don't know where my gear is?"
I raised an eyebrow when he said this. At that point in my deployment, I taught myself I am not getting paid enough for this bullshit, and I do not have the rank to cause a ruckus, so I said, "Sir, I will go have one of my guys retrieve your gear from the MRAP."
"That's what I wanted to hear, good Marine."
And he left. So I sent some of my guys to go get his gear, and while they are doing that, I made a sign on the computer that read something to the effect of Provincial Government Center COC, the brainstem of the PJCC, tracker of convos, organizer of reports, finders of lost colonel's gear. I surrounded the text with lightning bolts and Humvees. I went to post this on the door when who should be rounding the corner but my staff sergeant and my commanding officer, who was also a lieutenant colonel. They see me, they see the sign, they see the tape in my hand, and I'm just frozen like a deer in headlights. My staff sergeant casually walks over, grabs the sign, they read it. My CO says, "Okay, meet me in my office in 5. Have Corporal F cover your COC watch." It's a small fob. Provincial Government Center in Ramadi, right off what we call Route Mobile. and they were down the hall from me, so they know what BS his other colonel was spouting. Apparently everyone he had come in contact with had a similar story of entitlement within the first hour. So I go to report into my CO, and I'm as professional as can be. I report in properly. I'm at POA. Sir, good evening, sir. Corporal reporting as ordered. All proper. My CO looks at me, looks at the sign. My staff sergeant is covering his face with his cover, trying not to burst out laughing. He's purple, and I notice it out of the corner of my eye. It occurs to me they've been laughing over this for the last 5 minutes because already this guy has a horrible reputation.
Corporal, this is the funniest thing I've seen in a while. However, if I ever see you disrespecting a field-grade officer again, you'll be a second award Lance Corporal before you know it. Dismissed.
He gave me the sign back and told me to dispose of it and get back to work, and that was the end of it. By this point, my CO was a little fed up with me getting into shenanigans. I was 20, 21, and a young, dumb Marine Corporal. I still have the sign somewhere and my stuff from then. This was a decade ago, but it's one of the few things I kept from my service days. That and crippling illness. 5. Some short backstory. I work at a small popcorn factory. I've been working there since I was 18, 2 years ago. My boyfriend started working there almost a year after me, and is still there with me. We're both the best employees we can be. Doing our jobs, working overtime when asked, helping anyone when asked, learning any department we're needed in, etc. The first run-in we had with the entitled coworker was when my boyfriend worked chocolating. The one day the team lead for that section was gone, she tried changing how they did things to what she thought was best, and he politely said that they should stick to what's normal. Not a big deal, but it was the beginning of everything. A while later, I'm not sure how long, she has moved to packaging. I don't remember if she was on mornings first or if she was always night shift, but it doesn't matter. A bunch of time passes. My friend steps down from the night shift team lead and leaves. Entitled coworker takes his spot, since there was literally no other option that had been there for more than a month. At some point, we get short on staff, and there are huge differences in how the shifts operate, so they decide to make it all one morning shift until they get more people. My friend warns me about entitled coworker. I take note of it, but I try to treat her like I have never met her before. The first few days are nice. Then she gets onto my boyfriend about when we take lunch. We try to go at 11 so we can go to the sub shop right next to us. She then gets on him about how it's not fair that we go when we want because some people have bills and can't afford a $15 sub. She doesn't even want the time changed, she just wants to complain. And then after lunch, she targets me. I'm just standing at the end of the line doing my job. She comes up to me and asks why I can't do the night shift. I think nothing of it and just tell her I can't drive and I'm not comfortable walking alone at night. She basically tells me she has nighttime anxiety, so it isn't fair to her that I don't work nights. All of this happened a while ago, so I don't remember quotes. I tell her again that I walk, and I go past a sketchy motel, along with the fact that the bears come out in my neighborhood at 10 when I would be getting off work. Again, it isn't fair to her, and she has that bear too. She doesn't live right next to me. At some point, I got tired of repeating myself, so I just told her I have a friend that is at risk of committing suicide, which was true, and I needed to be there for him, since I was one of his only support people. Still not a good answer. Eventually, she tells me to just work night shift, and I say, "Fuck no," and end the conversation. We report her to the manager, and they make her apologize. She literally just said, "I'm sorry for speaking my mind." We accepted her half-assed apology, and stuff was normal for a little while. Some random amount of time passes, and we reach Incident 2. We clean out the hoppers we used to bag the corn and begin dumping corn in, leaving hers empty since she had wandered off to talk to someone. When she comes back, she asks her boyfriend to fill her hopper since she has a bad back. He does, and my boyfriend notices the hopper looks wet. He goes to check, and sure enough, it is. He's nice about it, and just says we have to run the corn out and toss it out, but it's not a big deal. She accepts at first, then grabs a rag from the bars of the hopper and argues that she used this and it's dry. and that it will be dry by the time the corn is out. My boyfriend is getting a little frustrated and tells her it wasn't dry. I wasn't there to catch the full conversation, but I'm assuming she kept insisting it was, and eventually, after she got audibly mad, he used the same tone she did.
"Don't talk to me like that."
He answers, "Don't talk to me like that." Takes a breath and is about to apologize for losing his cool when she storms off and reports him to the manager. Basic and calm talk with the manager. He gets it. He has to deal with her too. He just asks that he apologizes. When I see her next, I pull her aside. He apologizes, and I politely tell her that we both don't have the best tone control, and if we ever sound mad, to please just nicely tell us and we will apologize and correct it. She goes off about how we are disrespectful, how she's a superior and deserves respect, how she's gotten over her issues, so why haven't we gotten over ours? She's 7 years older than us and tells us to leave it at home. She didn't accept our apology, and I was so mad I was shaking. For the next several weeks, I had to battle on and off shutdowns every time I thought about her. I would get so anxious I could barely move and couldn't talk. At some point, we made plans with the manager to have a meeting with her to discuss all this, since we felt it had gone too far. The intention was for both sides to talk out our issues, as I figure it was just a case of us not understanding each other. The actual outcome was basically us saying we know both sides have probably done something wrong here, her going, "Yeah, you're wrong and disrespectful." Not her exact words, of course, just the gist. When I asked about why she feels disrespected, the only thing she said was, "You cussed at me," and then went to a different topic. Last week, she got mad at us again. We use a bleach solution to clean a tool we use. We were told it is a specific dilution. 4 quarts water, 1 tablespoon bleach. We have been following that perfectly. She told us we can just use a smaller container. I tried to just politely tell her that we would have to adjust the bleach measurement too.
"Just use a smaller container."
I tell her the same thing again and she cuts me off.
"I just used the cap. It's half a tablespoon."
She's only using 1 quart of water, and no, I'm pretty sure that cap is a full tablespoon. I tell her again. She cuts me off again. My boyfriend tries to tell her. She cuts him off. We walk away. A few minutes later, I try to politely tell her that we can do her idea. We just have to adjust the bleach measurement. She finally listens and tells me our food safety person said it doesn't matter that much. Why didn't she say that earlier? She tells my boyfriend we're wasting so much bleach, and he tells her, a little angrily, that it isn't that much. She's getting mad again, so I tell her he wasn't told what I just was. And that's why he's still mad. She takes her chance and goes off on us, yelling about how we never respect her, and why are you always so mean to me?
"I have no staff and 2 jobs and stay late all the time, but you won't stay to help me."
She never asked us to. My boyfriend chimes in that she never even let us finish our sentences. She keeps yelling, and at this point, our morning shift team lead yells at us all to shut up. The day after this, she erased her name on the whiteboard and instead, next to her phone number, wrote name supervisor. After months, I finally reported her to our CEO. She still hasn't done anything about her. She's been out sick all week, so at least I haven't had to see her. And just a fun side note, my nosy roommate looked her up on Facebook. Her precious sister was one of my high school bullies, and also just generally hated by everyone at that school for being a stuck-up asshole. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Idiots in the Wild, episode 88. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Before you go, please hit the like button, share the video around with friends and family, and click the link below for all the good Hellfreezer-related links. Okay, let's see. Let's move right along to Hellfreezer's question of the day. And today's question is, favorite kind of popcorn? If you like popcorn, you might not. It's entirely possible. Some people don't like the way it gets stuck in their teeth. But I do. I like popcorn. Specifically, if it's caramel. I will also accept salted caramel. And if not that, my favorite is one that Cadbury's used to do years ago, and I don't think I can get anymore. I haven't seen it in the UK at least, where it's dipped in chocolate, and that's just so good. It's like it's decadent, you know, so it's, more of that. Yes, indeed. But do let me know your ideas. Do you like sweet? Do you like savory? Is there something unusual you like doing to popcorn that tastes yummy you just want to share with people? I'll certainly look forward to seeing your ideas and concoctions. And with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourself.